All right, Grandpa, we are starting our interview with Grandpa Bill. Come on, Andy. Come on. Okay, you stay there. So, Grandpa, we are interviewing you. This is our official interview. So, first of all, what is your full name?
William Donald Francis Patrick Kelly.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know. Okay, what are your parents' names?
Don't know my father's name.
Okay,
My mother was Regina Morrissey.
Regina Morrissey. That's awesome. When and where were you born?
I was born in the Brooklyn Jewish Hospital on Park Place in Brooklyn, New York,
Okay.
February 20th, 1949.
Wow. 1949. Man, what was it like to be in New York? Like the conditions, like family life there in New York at when you were a little kid?
You want the truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty ugly. We were very poor.
Okay.
And so we just didn't have nothing. So
Like poor, like you, help me understand, because
poor, like I'd go to the local thrift store
uh-huh.
and hopefully I could find a pair of decent tennis shoes for 50 cents.
Wow.
Somebody that, donated the shoes to the store.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
Probably 7.
7 years old.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Okay. How many siblings did you have? Or do you have, but how many siblings did you have as a young
A
kid?
total of 9.
9.
Yeah, and 5 are left. No, 3 are left.
Wow.
My brother, myself, and my sister.
Okay. Wow. You remember their names?
Georgiana, Kevin, Regina, Veronica, Mike, John, Francis, and me.
So it's 8 total.
No, it's 9, wasn't it? Oh, and we lost a brother, Francis. Another brother, Francis.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. What was it like growing up for you? Like, as from a teen, adolescence to maybe 18 years old, what was it like?
Well, I used to make a little bit of money. I used to deliver groceries
That's right.
in Brooklyn at a store called A&J Supermarkets.
Okay.
And we'd ride those big 3-wheeler bikes
Oh, yeah.
and put all the groceries in and fill them up, deliver them, come back, get more, and go.
Wow. Okay. Kind of like the Bronx Tale, like the guy that had that 3-wheel buggy, but I think he had a horse. You were talking about it was a bike?
It was a bicycle, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Was that hard, or like how was that?
Yeah, it was hard because a lot of where I used to have to go was kind of uphill.
Oh, wow.
So, it was tough.
Wow. All right. So what did you do after high school? Like, did you graduate high school?
No.
Or how did you do?
Didn't graduate high school. I think I might have attended 2 months of high school and then went out and started to work.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
Wow. So you just freshman in high school?
Yeah, you would say a freshman, yeah.
Wow. So you started working, and how long did you do that? Like just work?
Till I went in the Marine Corps.
Wow. And how old were you then?
17.
17 years old. You signed up for the Marine Corps.
Right.
So what made you do that from working to the Marine Corps? What made you?
The Marine Corps had always been my dream.
Really?
Other guys wanted to be professional ball players. I just wanted to be in the Marines. I just thought that was a good thing.
Wow. So what was it about joining the Marines specifically that really that caused you to be so passionate about it?
Well, they believed in honor, respect.
Hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I believed in.
That's awesome. So when you joined the Marines, what MO or what job did you sign up for originally?
Infantry.
You signed up for the infantry?
Well, I was assigned 0311.
Okay.
0311 was infantry.
Wow. Was that your choice or they chose that for you?
No, the Marines chose that for me.
Wow. So what did you think when you got that job?
Well, I didn't think much because about a month after they gave me the job, they found out I was colorblind and assigned me to, what the hell was that? It was like a clerk, like a desk job. They assigned me to that
Okay.
because of my color blindness and the rounds that we used at the time, had different coloring.
That's right.
Like, for instance, at night, a tracer would be, every fourth round would be green tipped.
Okay.
And right before night, the rounds would like have a red flash to them.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and they were afraid that I might mistake somebody and shoot the shit out of them.
So they took you out of the infantry.
Yeah.
So what they switch your job to at that point?
Artillery.
Okay.
Which was even worse.
Yeah.
Because the rounds were twice as big.
Yeah.
And the tops were painted.
Wow.
Blue, red, green, and what was the other one? White.
Wow.
So blue was to make as many casualties with the enemy as you could.
Okay.
White was called phosphorus.
Okay.
And it could dig into a tank or something, explode inside.
Wow.
Red was maximum impact, meaning, it could create a huge hole.
Okay.
And if there was anybody in the area, it would take them out.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's pretty intense, Grandpa. That's wild. Okay, were you married when you joined were you already married or?
No.
So you just signed up and you went, where did you go when you signed up?
I went to boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina.
Wow. Did you go training?
Yep.
And did you come back to New York afterwards or?
No, I went from New York. I got orders to Vietnam.
Wow.
And so I went home for 2 weeks, back to Brooklyn for 2 weeks. And then I left and went out to California for advanced infantry training.
Wow. Oh, because you had to do infantry training too.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you went straight to Vietnam after that?
I went to Okinawa for probably 6 months more training.
Okay.
And then from there over to, it was May 67, I went to Vietnam.
1967.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long were you there for?
Well, the normal tour of duty in Vietnam was 13 months.
Okay.
I did 13 months, and then I extended my tour for 6 months.
Okay.
Because you get a little bonus for extending 6 months, and I was putting all my money away.
Nice.
I mean, growing up poor the way I did, I was a saver. I saved,
Wow.
And so I did another 6 months, and then I went to Japan for a year.
After Vietnam?
After Vietnam, yeah. And when I was in Iwakuni, Japan for a year, and I stayed there another 6 months.
Wow.
So I did 13 months there, and then another 6.
Wow.
And then after that, the sergeant major said, "We're getting you the hell out of here."
Why?
Because my eyes were starting to slant.
Oh, wow.
No. Because I've been in the Oriental countries that long,
Yeah.
that they denied me the third extension.
Wow. Were you homesick at all? Like during
No,
those tours?
I didn't have anybody. No.
Wow.
No.
Did you have a lot of friends in the military? Did you make a lot of good friends?
I made quite a few good friends. One of them I'm still in contact with today.
That's awesome. What's his name?
Lyle Masters.
Lyle Masters.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So when you came back to the States after Okinawa, right? What did you do after that?
I went to, well, what I did was I re-enlisted. So I re-enlisted in the Marine Corps for another 6 months.
Wow.
And I was looking to see what civilian jobs I could get, what jobs I could get in the Marine Corps that would help me in the civilian world.
Nice.
And so there was an MOS called 0161,
Okay.
and that was postal.
Oh.
And so I took that, and everything in that field was on the job training.
Nice.
So in about 6 months, I had it down pat, and I just I just stayed with it.
And that was in the U.S. in New York, or where?
No, that was in, where was I? Camp Pendleton.
Wow, in San Diego.
No,
Okay.
Camp Pendleton's in Oceanside.
Okay. Wow. So you were there, and did you start working for the Postal Service there, or?
No, not until I got out of the military.
Oh, okay. So how long were you in the military for, like total?
In the Marine Corps, 10 years, 11 months, and 8 days.
Wow.
And then in the reserves, another 9 years.
Wow.
Because in 9 years I could
Retire.
retire. Everything counted.
So you did over 20 years almost.
About 22.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you for your service. I always tell you that. That's funny. Okay. So you were there for 20 years, and so you didn't work a civilian job until you got out. Is that right?
Right. Right.
So what did you do while you were in? What type of work did you do while you were during those 22 years? I mean, you did infantry, or not infantry, artillery.
I did infantry. No, they wouldn't let me. When they found out I was colorblind again, they said, no, get his ass out of artillery.
Wow.
Right away.
Yeah.
I did what they call troop handling,
Okay.
which is in San Diego. If you're a troop handler, you go to the airport and you pick up the new recruits coming in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I thought, well, while I'm doing this, I did 6 weeks at Parris Island, South Carolina again,
Okay.
for DI school.
Okay.
And
So you were a drill sergeant?
Yeah, I went down there. Where's my hat?
Oh, that's cool.
There's my hat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I did that,
So you were one of those guys yelling at everybody when they got off the bus.
Yelling, kicking, I'd bite them if I could.
Oh, you would scare the mess out of me, Grandpa. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so you were there for 20 years. You were drill sergeant. Was that like the last job you had before you retired?
No, the last job I had before I retired, I was in the active reserve, and I was a tank commander.
Wow.
Yep.
In the reserves?
In the reserves, active
Okay.
reserves, yeah.
Wow. Did you travel anywhere else while you were, besides Okinawa and Vietnam?
Oh, God, I've been all over. I've been in Okinawa, Iwakuni, Japan, Bangkok, Thailand,
Wow.
Singapore.
With the Marines?
Marines and on my own. I'd take leave and go here, there, and everywhere.
Oh, that's cool.
You want to hear that or no?
About the leagues and stuff?
No, about these other countries that were not related to the military.
Yeah.
Okay, so Australia. I thought Australia sucked.
Okay.
Where else did I go? I went to quite a few places. But Bangkok stole my heart. Bangkok, Thailand stole my heart.
You'd go back?
Oh, God, I'd go back, yeah. I thought it was a beautiful place.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you love about Bangkok the most?
The monks would light themselves on fire.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Did you say the monks would actually literally light themselves on
Yeah,
fire?
one of the other monks would douse them with gasoline. They'd go up. They had this platform where they had a light, and they'd just light themselves up.
And die?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Why would they do that? Was it
Protesting something?
Oh wow! And you saw that?
Oh yeah.
That is wild, Grandpa. Whew, that's definitely another culture. I haven't seen anything like that. You know. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
They, yeah, I mean, they were doing that all the time.
Wow. So, wow. And what else did you like about that? About Bangkok? What was was it the food, the culture?
Oh God, the food sucked.
Really?
Yeah, I was not a big fan.
So what'd you eat?
Well, the hotel that I put myself up in, it had American food.
Okay.
You know, scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, toast, stuff like that.
I was about to say, because you have a really particular diet, like, you only
Right.
like certain things.
Right. So, but yeah, it was, it was just really, really, I love different cultures.
Okay.
And I love the archaeology side of it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, that's
like historical.
everything, yeah.
That is so
everything,
cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you would, if you could go back, you'd be an archaeologist, or?
I graduated with a 2-year degree in archaeology, but I needed I forget how many more credits for the 4-year degree, and I didn't go back and get
This
it.
is for college, right?
Yeah, I went to Maricosta Junior College, and then I went to University of San Diego University.
So you got your GED earlier on, right?
Oh, I got my GED in Escondido, California.
While you were in the Marines?
Yeah, the Marines came and they said, here's what we'll do. If you don't have a GED and you want to get a GED, we'll send you to school for a year, but then you have to give us the year back.
Thank you, Grandma. Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, so I got my high school diploma at Escondido Union High School.
That's awesome.
In Escondido, California, yeah. So
that's awesome. And then you went back to college while you were still in the Marines, right?
No, I didn't go. I was out of the Marine Corps when I went to school, back to school, because I went to night school.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you went for archaeology?
Yeah.
Oh, so you learned a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So did you want to be an archaeologist?
Oh yeah.
So you had been traveling, looking up sites and.
I actually did a couple of digs. I did a dig at the Presidio in San Diego.
Yeah.
And the Mission San Luis Rey.
So you actually dug stuff up?
Yeah, I did a dig. Yeah, I actually found the Mexican Army in the 1800s used spears.
Wow.
And they were phenomenal with spears.
Wow.
Or lances, huge lances. And we were digging one day, and I thought it was an old piece of wood, and I pulled it up, and I said, wow, this has got some designs on it. And then so you always signal to the head guy, and he goes, oh, Kelly, you got your first find. I said, what did I find? He said, I don't know, let's uncover it. So he uncovered it, and it was the big tip of the lance.
Wow.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
You didn't keep it. They kept it, right?
They kept it, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they kept it.
That'd be cool if they let you keep it.
Yeah. Well, it was like it was a part of San Diego history. So the city paid the school X amount of dollars for all the artifacts you could get.
Oh, wow.
Because it made them look good.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you came out of the military, you went to school. Did you start working right away, or what did you do?
Yeah, I married Brian's mother.
Okay.
And then Brian was born.
Okay.
So I was working the midnight shift at Tri-City Hospital and going to school in the daytime.
Okay.
And then I got out of school I had my classes all arranged. I'd get out of school at 11:30, and I would pick Brian up and watch Brian the rest of the day.
Wow.
Then I'd get up, and by 7 o'clock I was.
Marlene. So you had Brian. So was Brian your first son? Was Brian your first child?
He was my first child. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so how many kids do you have total?
2.
Well,
Well, I have Brian and Eric.
that's right.
There was a girl that wrote to my commanding officer and said I was the father of her daughter. And so I challenged it. I said, well, who is the girl? Well, she don't want you to know who she is. Yeah, I mean, it was a weird situation.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, what's the address? Do I get to see this child? And everything was no, no, no. So I just told the captain, I said, Captain, all due respect to your rank, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me.
Yeah.
He says, yeah. He said, well, I was reading the letter and he said, I even called her. He said, and she was adamant she didn't want to talk to you. She didn't want you to know who the baby was. I said, fine. I said, I'm not going to pay support on,
You don't even know if it's true.
Right. But I offered, I said, well, the Marine Corps has my DNA.
Yeah.
Tell her that we'll send her a DNA thing and compare it and let me know what it says. Never obliged.
That's really honorable, Grandpa. That's really honorable. That's a good thing to do.
Well, it's, I don't know, I've seen so many guys get themselves in a jam, and I just the hell with it, I'm going to fight this, or I'll fight the best I can.
Yeah.
And so.
To find out if it's true.
Yep.
Okay. So you had Brian and Eric.
Yep.
And so how old were you when you had Brian?
20, I was older, 28 or 29.
Wow. So how did you feel being a dad for the first time, like having your first kid?
I was lost. I was lost because I never had a father. I had nobody to teach me anything. So I was lost,
Wow.
And it seemed like the more I tried, the worse it got.
Wow.
So,
So how did you learn? Like, how did you figure stuff out? Did you ask questions, or you just learn by experience?
I watched other guys, I watched other guys.
Wow. That's wild, Grandpa. So you were 29 years old. And then Eric, how old were you when you had Eric? Your second child?
32, I think. Maybe even a little older, 32, 33.
Wow. So now you had a little bit more experience.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this was Lauren is Brian's mom.
Okay.
And then Wendy is Eric's mom.
Yes. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, babe. You want to be in here?
Sure.
Go on. You might want to grab a chair, sweetie, from in there.
I'm just gonna chill for a little while. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay.
Hey.
So out of like being a parent at 29 years old without not learning how to be a parent from, you didn't have your dad around, like, what would you say if you could go back, and this is going to be a weird question because you can't go back.
Right.
But if you could go back and talk to that 29-year-old or 30-year-old now, first year with your baby, what would you tell a 30-year-old man?
Stop being so selfish.
Wow.
Because I devoted my off time to softball, racquetball, running, whatever kind of sports and stuff I could do, I did.
Wow.
So that's why off the record, having everybody get up here, gather here, for a holiday or whatever, means an awful lot to me. Because growing up, I never had it.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's really awesome. So you had Eric, and now you're growing up, and what were you doing when you had your boys?
Working for the post office.
You were working for the post office.
Yeah.
And how long did you work for them for?
38 years.
you worked for the post office for 38 years, Grandpa?
with military service combined. See, I was on what they called a civil service retirement.
Okay.
So that's a government retirement. And back then, any kind of government work you had, you could combine it. So when I got out of the Marine Corps and I went and worked for the post office, they sent me a letter, what they call Office of Personnel Management. And they said, if you pay us $3,500, we'll put back all these funds in your account.
Wow.
Which I didn't even know I had earned, but I had earned all kinds of funds.
Wow.
So I said, hell yeah, I'll do that,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Dude, that's awesome. So 38 years.
Yeah.
When did you meet Grandma Kim?
In the post office in Fallbrook, California.
Was it like towards the end or in the mid? Like how old were you?
I think I was in my early 40s when I met her.
Early 40s.
Yeah, I was a supervisor on one side of the building. She worked on the other side of the building.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how'd y'all meet?
I don't know how the hell we met. I actually don't remember. But when I met her, I used to bring her like coffee and a donut in the morning,
Yeah.
People say, yeah, fuck you, I didn't care. But,
Yeah. So you guys were friends at first, or you guys?
Yeah, we were friends at first. Yeah.
That's awesome. And did you? Let me see. So how did you ask her out? Do you remember, like when you guys became more than friends?
We went to a Broadway play.
Okay.
In San Diego.
Oh, what did you guys watch?
What the hell was it? Oh, God. To be honest, I can't remember what that play was.
It was a long time ago. It's okay.
It was.
That's all right.
And then we went to more after that, because we both enjoy the Broadway shows.
And that was in New York?
No. I took her to one in New York.
Okay.
What did we go see in New York? Jersey Boys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so.
That's awesome.
So.
And so how long did you guys date before you asked her to marry you?
Oh, God, I didn't ask her to marry me until a couple of years ago.
What, Grandpa?
Oh, yeah. It was complicated.
Okay.
It was complicated.
So how old were you when you guys got married?
Well, let's see, I'm 76 now. I want to say 60 something.
Wow, Grandpa.
And she was 50, I forget what she was, 50 something. But we lived together for a while.
Okay.
We lived together. We had a beautiful house. We had built a brand new pool.
That was in San Diego?
No, that was in Temecula.
Is that in California?
Oh yeah. It's how far away? It was probably 70 miles from San Diego proper.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so what made you move to Texas? What made y'all move to? Did you get married over there or married over here?
She called me one day,
and
I was shocked. I don't even know how she got the number, but she called me. We started talking, and yeah. One thing led to another. Then the next thing I know, she came out. So I said, well, fuck it. We might as well just go to Maryland and get married, because in Maryland, you don't need nothing. You just walk in, justice of the peace, and they marry you.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom, yeah. And so, yeah, that's what we did,
That's awesome. And so, when you guys got married in Maryland, where'd you guys move back to California?
No, I lived in Pennsylvania at the time.
Uh-huh.
I just bought a house in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And she was still out in Temecula.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that she got a hold of me was because she was not going to make it. She was having a hard time.
Wow.
So I knew there was motive behind the call.
Yeah.
But it was okay, because we're kind of compatible in our own way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it went down.
It's pretty awesome. So, so you were in PA. You guys moved back to PA, right?
No, she moved. She went back to California.
Uh-huh.
I went back to PA, and she called me one time, and it was like a computer call, and so I said, what's halfway between here and California? So I looked up. I pulled out this big atlas I had,
Yeah.
and I looked. I said, "Oh, Dallas, Texas."
That is so funny.
So I said, "What do you think? You want to go?" She said, "Yeah, why not?" I said, "Okay." So
So you guys both just packed up
yeah,
California and PA,
yeah,
and
and we went to Little Elm.
Little Elm.
Little Elm, yeah.
And what year was that? Do you remember what year?
2020, 2007. I think it was 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was 24 years old then.
Yeah. Okay.
That's wild. That's amazing. Okay. So you guys moved down here. You bought a house, right? And you guys started just building your life here and.
Well, yeah, we were kind of. She went to work in San Diego for State Farm, and I was retired, but I was doing military funerals.
Oh.
And what they used to do is, like retired military people, they'd say, "Okay, we'll pay you $50 a funeral, and we'll pay your travel."
Oh, nice.
Because they didn't have enough people to do it.
Wow.
And I had done couple of funerals in the Marine Corps, so I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I knew how to fold the flag and do all the fancy stuff.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, I did okay. I did okay.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is part one of the interview process. So this is just like some general information. Now we're gonna get personal, Grandpa. Are you okay with that? I knew you would laugh if I asked you that. I knew you would laugh. Okay. So we're gonna ask some good questions, but they're good questions.
Okay.
So, how many grandkids you got?
4.
4 grandkids. What are the names?
Gabby, Bam, Connor, and what's the other guy's name? Brody.
God, I caught you off guard with the personal question. It got me. No, that's funny. Okay, so you got 4. Who's your first one?
The first one was Brian.
Oh, first a grandkid.
Oh, grandkid.
Yeah.
The first grandkid would be, I want to say Gabby, but I might be all wet.
You're right.
Yeah, it was
so.
Gabby. It was Gabby.
Yeah.
It was Gabby, Bam, Connor, Brody.
Nice.
In that order. Yeah.
Wow. And so, Gabby being the first one, how did you feel seeing your first grandkid?
Oh, great. Great.
It was nice.
Yeah, she was the love of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. That's sweet, Grandpa. And so, now that how old are you now? If you don't mind me asking.
76.
You're 76 years old.
Yeah.
So, everything you've been through from being in New York, growing up in poverty, New York City, seeing life there and then going to the Marines and going from the Marines and, all the experiences and things that you saw, without going into too much detail, but things that you experienced that you will never forget, all the way to getting married and experiences and having your first kid and all that. Like, what was your, this would be a weird question, but what was your favorite, if you could say favorite season of your life, what would that be?
Going to Vietnam.
Going to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So why was that your favorite?
Well, it's what Marines do. That's what I signed up for.
Wow. And you were there for like 13, you said 13 months?
I was there for 20, no, wait a minute, let me back up. 13 months, 6 months extension, 19. I was there for almost 21 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was, what did you love so much about it? Like, what did you?
Well, I just, like I said, to me, I joined the fight. you know. But I didn't know my color blindness would just block me all over the place, you know.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Okay. And let me see. And today, what would you say this favorite time of your life in this season, like being 76 years old? Like, what would you say is your favorite moment or things to do?
all you guys,
Oh well,
all you guys. That's the favorite part of my life now.
like us getting together.
Everybody getting together, laughing, you know,
Yeah,
being open, you know.
yeah.
I love the hell out of it. You know,
Oh,
I didn't have it. I didn't have it, you know. So,
yeah.
you know, I just, you know, I also get a little upset because I look at, like my first wife, Lauren. I look at Lauren. I raised her 2 kids,
Mhm.
you know, and then Wendy. I raised her 2 kids,
Mhm.
and you know, nobody ever said thank you.
Okay.
You know, I was, you know, making sure they had shoes and food, and everybody was doing good and getting what they needed for Christmas. I'm a big Christmas guy,
Yeah.
you know, because we just never had it. So, but nobody ever said thank you. You know, not that I needed it, but it would have been nice to know that, you know, I'm not your blood dad, but I'm here. You know, and a little appreciation wouldn't have hurt.
Okay.
You know, but that's just who I am. You know.
So you, would you say that because you didn't have like a father figure, you really took that like to heart? Like you like wanted to be the best dad that you could.
Well, I wanted to make sure everybody had, you know, shoes and socks and underwear, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I always wanted to make sure everybody had that.
You wanted to provide.
Yeah,
Make sure.
I always felt I was a good provider.
Okay.
You know, for instance, Wendy never even had a goddamn washer or dryer when I met her. You know, I bought her the washer and dryer. You know,
That's nice.
and it's not because I had to, but you know, I thought, okay, I'm here. I've got clothes too,
Yeah.
so you know,
You're being kind.
trying to be. Yeah.
So, looking back, if you could, and this is gonna sound kind of weird, but if you could go back and do anything different, which you could say nothing or anything, what would you do different?
I'd have liked to have gone to school from the get-go.
Okay.
I'd have liked to have been able to go to college from the get-go.
Okay.
And then at 18 or 19 in college,
Mhm.
I could have probably got my archaeology degree,
Mhm.
gone to Egypt, gone to Rome at a young age,
Mhm.
done the digging and everything without worrying about any problems or anything with my health.
Mhm.
And I'd have been very, very happy, very
Wow.
happy.
And you wouldn't have joined the Marine Corps, you're saying? Or-
I would have joined the Marine Corps Reserve, what they call the active reserve.
Oh, so you could have done both.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And
Okay.
everybody has to allow you to do both.
Okay.
So if I would have had a job, say, like with the post office,
Yeah.
I was active reserve in the post office,
Mhm.
they can't deny you.
Wow.
They have to let you go,
Mm.
you know. So yeah, I would have done both. Yeah.
Okay. So, what would, in the sense of, man, I just had a question. It just slipped my mind. Guess wasn't that important. Did you join the Marine Corps? You said you'd be an archaeologist, basically, and you would have done that full time, and then you've just done reserves, right? But you said something about your health. What happened with your health? Did you say like your health was a problem or something?
No, I had this leg that was totally burned when I was 5.
Wow.
You know, I
But
had
that didn't affect you getting into the Marines at all?
No, I really thought it would, but it didn't.
Wow.
You know, I had a few things going on with my knees and my legs, you know.
This is as a young guy?
Oh yeah.
Really? So you had knee issues as a young? Like when
Oh
you were young?
yeah.
Wow.
This, before I got hurt in Vietnam, this started off as a meniscus tear.
Wow.
But because I never had it treated or couldn't get it treated, it just got worse and worse and worse.
Okay.
You know, and then when all hell broke loose in Vietnam, and I was running for the bunker, and I slammed into that bunker, I completely completely tore it out.
This is like in Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Had you had any other health issues that had come up? Like,
Well, I had the ruptured spleen.
while you were in Vietnam?
Oh no, that was before I even went in the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
had a ruptured spleen. I had
Wow.
I had some kind of lung infection. Where you remember seeing those old iron lungs, where they put you in an iron lung and the only thing sticking out is your head,
Yeah.
and
I've seen that.
you're breathing through the tube and everything. Yeah. So I was in one of those for about 6 months.
Wow.
Nobody, to this day, I don't know what it was, but
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had my share of health shit, that's for sure.
Throughout. Wow. Yeah.
So,
So, Grandpa, if you could tell your kids anything, let's say, and it could be anything you want from your heart, it could be something that just wisdom, anything. Like Brian and Eric, what would you tell them?
well, Brian, I would tell him how proud I am of him, of how he's brought his life back together.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, Eric was. I feel like I kind of failed Eric because he was ADD and I didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So one time I kind of slapped him in the mouth, and I realized that he wasn't comprehending what I was trying to tell him.
Yeah.
So I felt like shit after that. But I just tell him that I love him to death. That's all I can tell him.
That's awesome. That's good.
Well, it's. I mean, I wish like I had Eric going to church with me.
Yeah.
And then his mother, well, I don't believe in the Catholic Church. But Eric enjoyed going with me on Sundays.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she put a nix on that, which, I mean, I grew up as a Catholic, going to Mass every Sunday.
Yeah.
9 o'clock kids Mass with the school. And so I thought it was
As a
important.
young kid.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow. How old were you?
I was probably 7, 8,
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get started early.
Wow.
But I was also in the choir,
Oh, yeah.
and I loved the choir. I love being in the choir,
Yeah.
And the choir lady's name was Miss Trombetta.
Miss Trumpetta.
Yeah, I'll never forget her. She came up to me a few times and said, Billy or William, they always call you like Master William, Master John. In front of the name is always Master.
As a singer or as a choir?
No, as a choir guy, she'd say, Master William, you let me teach you and you will be very, very good. But I wanted to get out and play sports. I wanted to be, up in front of the Brooklyn Museum on the open fields.
Yeah.
It's
Baseball? Was it?
baseball, football, it was everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Matter of fact, that's where I first came into what's the word I want? That's where I first came into my views on archaeology. They had a sarcophagus up there from Egypt.
Over in the church?
No, over in the Brooklyn Museum.
Oh, okay.
And it had the mummy in it. And I was there when they took the top off. They took it off every once a month.
Okay.
And I was there and it was a real mummy.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty amazing, yeah.
So a real person mummified.
Yeah, yes.
Wow. That's wild.
So but I don't know, at first I was very angry with life, very angry with the world,
As a young kid?
Yeah, oh yeah. I had to sit back and watch my sisters get shit for Christmas, get shit for their birthdays, while my mother was out drinking and, you know, and I had real anger toward her.
Mm.
And, there was 9 of us.
Yeah.
And when I went in the Marine Corps, all I made was $134 every 2 weeks.
Oh,
That wasn't going to support 9 people,
that's right.
and but yeah, I mean that, and not having good clothes, and George, when you're poor, I don't know if it's ever happened to you or people in your family, you're looked down upon. People make fun of you, and I'll give you a good for instance.
Yeah.
My friend of mine, Kevin Roach, he was a good guy. He was a really good guy. There was a place, 2716 Rogers Avenue, and it was a Dungy tenement building.
Okay.
And Kevin could never hesitate to point out that's where I lived, and I just, yeah. But I remember when I went back one time, he had ordered the dinner, and I offered to pay for half of it.
Okay.
And he said, no, I got this. And the next day we went to this place where we used to go have coffee on Sundays and, and everything. And I remember somebody saying, oh, so you're back up to the old tricks. Kevin paid for everything last night. I said, bull fucking shit.
Made you mad.
Oh, it made me really pissed. And this is recently, about 7 years ago. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I own 40 acres of land. I have cows. I have donkeys. I have dogs. I have cats. I said, nobody pays my way but me. And I said, if you want to come out and take a look, be my guest. It's just going to cost you a plane ticket. Because I just had enough of everybody's bullshit.
Gotcha.
Never went back after that.
So they made fun of you
all
when you
the
were
time.
younger
All
for
the
not
time.
having money.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with the anger? Like, how did you get over it, or did it just go away, or?
No, I took it out on my sister sometimes.
Oh.
Because I always felt like, well, and when I look at it now, she was a girl. So if anybody got anything on Easter, she should have got the dress and the shoes and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pissed. I was really angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck, what the hell's going on here? Because the rest of us couldn't go outside until late in the afternoon.
Wow.
When everybody was done eating and they had their Easter dinner,
Yeah.
Then we'd go outside.
Okay.
And people knew, and they'd make fun of us.
Oh.
So, fuck.
I got you. Well, now
I just threw that out, so I don't know if you wanted to know anything like that.
No, that's fine. Anything you want to share is okay. It's all good. Everything is really good. So, well, now you're doing really well. You live over here in Denton, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in this area? Since you said since 2007. Okay. You want to come in, baby?
Go ahead.
Okay. So how long you've been here since 2007, right? In Denton?
No, in Little Elm since 2007.
Okay.
Little Elm.
Okay. So it's such a big change from New York, all the places that you've been to,
Oh yeah.
to here.
Oh yeah.
What do you love the most about living out here?
That I could walk out that back door, piss all over my own lawn,
Yeah.
and not worry about it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how I feel.
That's cool.
I don't care.
So you like the open space and
Yep.
the privacy.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah. So you got 4 grandkids, you said.
Yep.
Yeah. Keeping that. All right. So if you could say each one, because I know you have a different relationship with each grandkid.
Mm-hmm.
So starting with the oldest, Gabby being the oldest.
And the favorite.
No, let her in, let her in.
Yeah. If you could.
Come on, Ginge.
You wanna go?
Is it time?
It's getting there, it's almost dark.
Okay.
Where you going?
Come with us to do
We're gonna
the,
do fireworks at Dan and Arlene's, but
you wanna go with?
they're doing an interview for Grandpa, so
Yeah.
George might see
You wanna
that.
cut and come back to it, or you wanna continue?
What do you want to do, Grandpa?
You guys go ahead, enjoy the fireworks. I don't give a shit for fireworks, so,
Mm,
He's colorblind.
yeah,
you know.
you can't see him anyways.
It's the truth.
Yeah, but what do you call it? There is a couple questions I want to ask my Grandpa.
You want to ask him? Okay.
We might have to resume. Well, you can stay and do it with Grandpa if you want.
Okay. Okay.
So you're gonna stay?
I'm gonna stay, Grandma.
All right.
Thank you.
I
You
know
sure?
working hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm absolutely okay with it.
Mm.
I've seen fireworks every year. The same thing.
Okay, most memorable time in the Vietnam War. That's what I want to ask.
Hmm.
Best thing that's ever happened to Grandpa.
Hmm.
What do you think, what are you saying when you're asking the most memorable?
Like the most memorable. What's the craziest thing you experienced? What is something that changed your perspective on life?
Like going to Mount
From
Fuji in Japan.
Yeah,
What's something that changed your perspective on life being in the Vietnam War?
oh, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay. So the most memorable thing was when I first realized that the people in Washington, D.C. didn't give a shit about us one way or the other.
Okay.
It's almost like you're out there on your own.
Okay.
We had the worst equipment.
Mhm.
Well, actually, we had World War II equipment.
Wow.
You know, the worst shit, you know. The only thing that was worth the shit was my M14. That was state of the art, you know.
Okay.
But everything else was all bullshit, you know. We were eating what you call C rations, which were from World War II.
Oh man.
So they used to have, and it was really actually good once you got all the grease out of it.
Mhm.
They had this can of spaghetti, and you opened it,
Yeah.
took the top off, and you had to wait about 15 minutes for it to come up.
Oh
And
wow.
it had so much shit in it, it would come up and go out of the can.
Wow.
So if that fell out, you were shit out of luck because
You weren't eating that
you
thing.
wasn't eating that. You wasn't getting another one.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna just pivot a little bit. So from oldest grandkid, Gabby, to the youngest, which would be Brody.
Brody,
Brody's the youngest one. What would you want to tell them? Like advice or anything from the heart, starting with Gabby.
I would just say how much I love her.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not good at letting stuff go.
It's okay.
I've carried a lot of shit for a lot of years, you know. So, you know, I never forget when I was up at the hospital and I held her for the first time. And it was like unbelievable.
Oh. It's all right, Grandpa.
Fuck.
It's okay.
Just Brian in here.
All right. What would you want to tell Bam? Brian. Brian.
Asshole.
Coming, or are you gonna stay?
Give me like 5
Um,
minutes.
I just, you know, Bam had so much going. He was really smart. He was a good sportsman. He was good, and it seems to me like he chucked it all away for gang bullshit. That's how I feel, you know, and I don't think I'm far from being wrong from that, you know. But they had almost a similar situation like I had, except they had 2 drunk parents. I only had 1. You know, and that kind of shit should never have happened.
What advice would you give Bam? Like if you could leave him any advice or...
Stop wasting your talent. You know, he's very talented. He could do a lot of things. It's like Gabby's very talented.
Mhm.
You know, just you gotta go forward. You gotta keep going forward, no matter how much in the muck and the mud and the shit you get. Your knees will always come up out of it. So you just got to keep coming and going. You got to go forward, you know, and it'll come. It'll come. But you got to look at things realistically, you know. And what I mean by that is, so when I was out of the Marine Corps, and Gabby went to one of them, I did those military funerals.
Mm-hmm.
I got paid for that. I got paid for the mileage. And whatever extra money I had from my retirement, it all went in a savings account. I always saved it so that I would never have to look back and say, oh, fuck, here you go, you're poor again. I just never wanted that stigma again of being poor. It's like Kim's crazy because I have 40 pairs of shorts in there. But that's me from being poor. I have, I don't know how many pairs of brand new socks, and all my shit still got tags on them, you know. But it's how I grew up, you know. It's you know, I don't need to wear them today, but I could always go in there and say, oh, I got this or I got that, you know. I finally got some nice shirts in there that I really like, you know, and but again, that's because. It's because of the way I grew up. I've got a blue suit in here. And the only reason I know it's blue is because Kim told me it was blue. But I love it. And I don't need to change it out for nothing. You know, if I need to wear a suit, I could wear that suit.
Yeah.
And I like the way it fits and I enjoy it. You know, it's hard to put into words. You know, sometimes.
Well, what about the other grandkids? What would you want to tell them, Brody and Connor? What would you want to tell Connor? He's the next one on the list.
Connor, I would say, you know, well, I would say grow up. You know, he needs to grow up a little bit more. Okay. You know, he's 13 and I told him one day, you're running a fool's errand. You know, what do you mean by that? Well, you've got all this knowledge. Connor is extremely smart.
Really smart.
And he wasted on fucking video games. You know, and I blame Eric, because Eric played the games with him, got him started. You know? But I don't know, you know.
What about Brody?
I love Brody to death. He's too funny. He's I just tell Brody, like with football, play as hard as you can play. Play the best as you can play. You know, I watch him play basketball, and I'm amazed at how he plays basketball.
Wow.
Also, the other question is what
Just ask it, babe.
what was the, well, because I'm about to leave, so
Okay.
you can ask it, but what was the what was the hardest thing about growing up as a kid in New York?
I asked that question already.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, sweetie pie.
I have okay, what's another one? Why, out of all the professions that Grandpa could have done, why did he choose the Marine Corps?
It was a dream. It was my biggest dream.
What was his biggest dream?
Oh.
I asked him that one too.
Okay.
If you come up with anything else.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to sing Gabby, but I wanted to sing doo-wop, and doo-wop was dying.
Oh.
Doo-wop was on its way out.
In New York.
All over the country. You
Okay.
know? It actually catapulted all these other groups, you know, all these bands.
Like Motown.
Yeah, but yeah, it was, you know. But my biggest dream was always the Marine Corps.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you said Brody. Did you say something to Brody already? Did you say?
Yeah,
did you
I
play hard. You said.
I told Brody, you know, play as hard as you can play. And then I was saying, I was shocked at how fast he could run up and down the basketball court.
Wow.
He's a pretty big guy now. He's pretty chunky.
Yeah.
And man, he goes up and down the court like, you know.
It's fast.
Yep.
All right. And what about? All right. And what would you want for your grandkids? Like if you could say, hey, this is what I would want for them. Like something, you know, because you know one day they're gonna have kids. You know, Gabby.
Well, what I would say to Gabby is, use your God-given talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she needs to get voice lessons.
Okay.
I listen to her sing, and because I know harmony and because I know stuff like that,
Yeah.
I see a little bit of a falter here, a little bit of a falter there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that I think would hinder her.
Okay.
You know, but I think if she had some lessons or something, I think she would really, really hit her mark.
So you're saying use her God-given talent, like her voice, like
Yeah.
the gift that God gave her. It's awesome. And what about for Bam? What would you say to Bam? Like him growing up.
I
having a
said it to
family?
Brian today. I said, you know, he's gained weight, so I wonder how well he could play football now with a little weight on him.
Mhm.
You know, but the rule in football is once you hit 22, 23, you're considered gone, old. You know.
Yeah. I believe he likes music a lot. You never know. I think he might.
Yeah, I heard about the beats and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
he's really good.
Well, I don't understand it, so I can't say much
It's
about
another
it.
genre, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What him having a family? What would you tell him? Like some advice, like
I
him growing up
would
and
tell
getting
him.
married. And...
I would tell him not now. You need to get established. You
Okay.
know, and that's God's honest truth. You know,
That's why.
you just it's not like when I was I wasn't married when I was young like these guys,
Mhm.
but my friends were all kind of getting established.
Okay.
They had kind of went to work for certain people for so many years, and they were like in an apprenticeship and doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think these guys like Bam and them miss.
Mm.
You know, and one of the things I'm really, really happy about is Trump is going to bring back the trade school thing.
Okay.
He's going to put lots of money in trade schools.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
you know, it's life questions right now. It's a pain in the ass. It's
Different.
hard.
It's a different time.
Yeah, very different. You
Mhm.
know.
What do you think's the biggest change? Would you say from when you were young, maybe not teenager, but 20s, 30s to now, being here in the United States in 2025? What would you say is the biggest change or?
I think the biggest change for me, and this is
Mhm.
just me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and this might change your opinion a little bit of me, but that's okay too.
It's okay.
I think the biggest thing is too many people want too much for nothing. Okay? Like, do you know who this Jasmine Crockett is?
Mm-mm.
She's a senator or a congressgirl from Georgia.
No.
And she stood right up in the middle of the Congress and said, the only reason I'm here is because I'm black and you got to put me here.
Oh,
See,
wow.
it's shit like that. You know, why, you know, like I said, don't look at me and look at the color of my skin
Yeah.
and think I had a fucking, nice life, because you're fucking wrong, you know. But I see too many people doing that. You know, it's like all these migrants coming across our border. You know, I don't care who you are, what color you are. If you can come over, but come over legally and get yourself together doing it. Get your papers ready, you know. Don't come over here expecting Bill Kelly to all of a sudden donate $200-300 out of his pay every month, you know. to keep you afloat. That's bullshit. And that's how I feel, you know.
Yeah.
And then I look at these colleges and the way they treat these Jews. That's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I remember growing up with. They were a little bit older than us, but they would be playing out in the summertime. We'd be playing what they call box ball.
Mhm.
It's a game in the street, and they'd pull their sleeves up, and you'd see the concentration camp numbers
Oh wow.
on their wrists. Yeah,
Wow.
you know, and
This is in New York.
yes, in Brooklyn,
Wow. In the 50s, 60s.
60s.
Wow.
You know, and it's like what the fuck, you know, and
That means that they were in Germany and
Oh,
going
yeah.
through all that stuff. Wow.
Yeah. And you know, we used to make fun of them, and then this rabbi, you know, rabbis, they're teachers.
Yeah.
This rabbi called us all together, got everybody a can of soda, a bottle of soda, because back then it was bottles.
Yeah.
And sat down and he taught us. He talked to us and taught us what it was like for them,
Wow.
and how they come from Germany,
Wow.
and because we questioned a friend of mine questioned the numbers,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the rabbi said, "Well, that's what the German military did to them. You know, they
Wow.
marked them, you know, with certain numbers, and then the top number would tell what kind of blood they have.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, they did some stuff, but." You know, with that said, it's like now they got this guy in New York, Mondovi. Have you heard of him?
Mm-mm.
He's a communist.
Okay.
He's a communist socialist, and the New Yorkers are flocking to him. And I think to myself, you deserve it. You put that guy in office for mayor, you deserve every fucking thing you get. You know. Because he's already said that the intifada against the Jews globally is okay,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
So those are some of the changes I see that
Gotcha.
I don't like. You know?
Political and a lot of like
Yep,
stereotypes. And,
yep, racial bullshit, you know.
Yeah. Well, you said earlier, you said that you went to Catholic school since you were a kid. And
Right.
You were part of the choir. What was the favorite song you remember singing? What was your favorite thing to sing?
Oh, God, I gotta think now, because we did everything in Latin.
You sang in Latin?
We
bro?
sang in Latin,
Okay.
yeah. I think it was the Kyrie. It was Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison.
What does that mean, Grandpa?
I don't remember. I don't remember. But it has
Too
something
funny.
to do with Jesus. you know.
Yeah, that's good.
And
That's
then,
cool.
And then Christe eleison. But yeah, it was all in Latin.
So you sang in Latin?
Yeah, we sang the masses we used to do were all Latin.
Yeah. Is that your phone, Grandpa? Or
No,
Grandma?
that's Kim's.
Okay. I think she left it here by mistake. Wow. So, and so you were part of the Catholic Church. You're still part of the Catholic Church.
Yeah. I don't. I consider myself a half-ass Catholic now
Okay.
because there's a lot. There's a lot where I got real disenchanted with them when these priests and bishops were abusing those young boys, and then and then in L.A. the bishop would send another bishop to another parish,
Oh wow.
and you know, just constantly moving them.
A lot of corruption.
Yeah, and that you know really upset me.
Yeah. Well, but that kind of instilled, like, what do you feel like being in church and
Right now, the way I look at it is, I go to bed at night.
Mhm.
I say the Our Father. I say 3 Hail Marys,
Mhm.
and I say a couple of little prayers after that.
Okay.
And I think, okay, I'm good. I'm good with what I just did.
Okay.
And you know, I think to myself, I hope, you know, I always ask God at night, please have mercy on me.
Mhm.
You know, and that's where I'm at. You know,
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
Do you feel like that's kept you strong, like your relationship with God? How has it impacted How has it impacted your
Oh
life?
God,
throughout-
George, God has been so good to me. I can't explain to you.
Wow.
He's been so good to me. I've got a saved leg that they were going to take it off from the knee down,
Wow.
and I honestly felt that the doctors that came my way, with His grace, gave them what they needed to save that leg, and then just a lot of things like the heart thing, just a lot of different things. I felt that He's been there for me, and I make promises and make promises. Then I feel horrible because I don't keep my promise to Him.
But He loves you.
But
no
it
matter
seems
what.
like He's kept His promise to me all the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm also a big believer in the Catholics. We call her the Blessed Mother, the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
Call her the Blessed Mother,
Okay.
And I also I have a great love for her.
Okay.
I think she's. I think when I pray to her, I have a sense of good feeling.
Okay.
When I play to Jesus, I'm wondering if He's getting ready to zap me.
Why do you feel that way, Grandpa?
I don't know. I just like I said, I've not been a good Catholic. I went over to the Lutheran religion.
Okay.
There's really no big difference between the Lutheran religion
Mm-hmm.
and the Catholic religion,
Okay.
except for the Lutheran religion does not allow statues
Okay.
in the church or around the church,
Okay.
but it's almost like the same scripture,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like I said, I just I just say, okay, Lord,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I could tell I know He loves you a lot. So.
Well, he's like I said, I'm very fortunate, George. Where I was as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
stone cold poor, to where I am today, it's apples and oranges,
Yeah.
And I honestly believe it's because of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Not that He wants me to be a full millionaire, but I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to say, come on, George, come on, Gabby, come on up,
Yeah. Sweet.
The little things.
Yeah.
That to me is the most important thing in my life, the little things. That we get together, and when Gabby comes up, like for the holidays, I'm enthused because she enjoys
Oh.
the tree, she enjoys the putting things up,
Yeah.
and I'm that way. But I haven't been that way in a long time because Kim's a sourpuss when it comes to Christmas decorations and shit. She
Okay.
pisses me off, But
She feels different about him.
yeah, so this year I got some plans for Gabby and I to put some
Decorate.
stuff up. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me see what else. Well, so we're coming to the end of the interview. What do you want to say? This would be like family basically watching this. What do you want to be remembered for? Like if you could just say anything.
I don't know, maybe my grandkids and people will say, well, he wasn't a bad guy.
We love you, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that feeling. But, again, I don't know. I don't know what I want to say anymore. See, I was going to write a book.
Mhm.
So I had everything kind of chronicled.
Like your life.
Yeah, and so it didn't go that way here. Let me see what's going on with the cats.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love you, Grandpa. Thank you for this interview.
Well,
Yeah.
I just if you
Awesome.
get rid of it, that's okay.
I'm not getting rid of it. Gabby's gonna want to watch it, and your grandkids are gonna want to watch it, and